Welcome to episode 9, guys. Stick around. We're going to buy Steve Jobs' old Birkenstocks. Real cheap. They're going for cheap right now, so go pick them up. It's got a foot imprint on them. We're going to be doing that. We're also going to talk about owning a company and what that means. Are we overworked? Are we getting any sleep? I don't know, but you're going to find out. Check it out. Don't go anywhere. This is a good episode. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. Gobble, gobble.
Bread.
Welcome to TRIFLIX Cast. We are professional videographers and photographers talking about the latest techniques, business practices, and tech with a little bit of fun sprinkled in. I'm Cole. I'm the producer around these parts. To my right is...
Oh, you did the other way. It's me, David Baker.
David Baker. He's to my left. And what do you do around here, David?
Oh, I visually looked at the right on the screen. That's so confusing. I get confused
My
a lot.
left.
That's
I
my
said
job.
my left.
You're
You're going to have to unmute
yeah,
the sir.
It's me. I'm the creative director.
Who's me?
I'm Tristan.
It's like a jump scare.
I know, right? For those of you who drove off the road, sorry. TRIFLIX is not liable for any
We'll
damages
adjust
or
that.
accidents.
3 people just fell off their toilet.
We'll adjust it in post.
Rather you didn't. Just throw compressor. It'll all level up.
Comment and just say toilet if that's where you watch this podcast.
Yeah.
I want to know. We need the statistics.
We need interactions, baby.
Okay, I've got a news story for today, gentle folks.
I'm just
Did
an
you see the
ordinary
title?
folk. Nope, I haven't been looking at all.
Okay. This is a news article. So, Steve's Birkenstocks. What do you think this is about?
Steve Jobs.
Steve wears hats on his feet.
Okay.
Based off his name?
Huh?
Do you know what a Birkenstock is?
Based off the title of the...
That sounds like a last name. I don't know.
No, he was right. It is about Steve Jobs. So
Is it about shoes?
yeah.
Birkenstock
So
that.
they auctioned Steve Jobs Birkenstock Sandals. What do you think they went for? Who's they?
Who's got his shoes?
What's a Birkenstock?
It's a very fancy sandal.
They were also accompanied by an NFT.
Oh my! I don't
See,
care
I want to know
anymore.
who they is because they sound like a lame person.
Yeah, I don't know who it is that the California-based auctions called Julian's Auctions is the one that auctioned it off, but I don't know who.
This sounds like a metaphor, like never sell a dead man's shoes. Like it just sounds like this isn't something that should be done.
Yeah, don't you think that's weird?
Mm-hmm.
He died in 2011.
Yep.
These
Are
his
they still for sale? And
well-used brown suede sandals. They were they were accompanied by an NFT. It sold for $218,000.
Oh, I was going to guess like 1.2 mil.
I was gonna guess several mils.
Yeah, but they're sandals.
I mean, I wouldn't buy for that much either, but I was thinking
I wouldn't
stupid.
buy Birkenstocks if they were $20.
This is how you know you've made it. If somebody buys your Birkenstocks when you die for $200,000.
The funniest part to me is
It's for
that
charity.
NFTs have gotten so desperate.
Is it for?
They've resorted to selling them with tangible things now,
Which is
the
hilarious.
Exact opposite of what.
Hilarious.
So you said it's for charity. Is it for cancer of the pancreas?
They're like, where'd the money go?
I
Who
don't know.
gets that money?
Who gets the money?
Dude, the Jobs family doesn't need that money unless he was
No.
really bad with his finances.
Let's see. Imprint of his foot.
It's so stupid. It's an imprint of his foot.
Jobs was
The
frequently seen
sandal.
wearing Birkenstock sandals in the early days of Apple in the 70s and 80s.
I'm kind of surprised I got that right. I thought you were talking about somebody with the last name Birkenstock.
It's Steve Birkenstock.
It sounds like a last name. It probably is.
The funny thing is I don't know. It doesn't say. It actually doesn't say where the money goes.
They got scammed.
They got scammed.
It's an NFT. They got
If it
scammed.
didn't go to charity, then they're just wasting money.
I agree. I don't know. We got to look up Julian's auctions in California.
Julian.
Sounds legit.
Julian took
If you
that
hear
money.
this, Julian,
We know what you
come
did.
on our podcast.
Defend
and try to
yourself.
clear your name.
We know what you did.
We have the hot seat right over here.
The hot seat.
The hot seat.
The hot seat.
Hot
No one, you
seat.
can't see the hot seat, but it's
Yeah.
right over there.
The last time Daniel was in the hot seat and Tristan put him on the spot.
You know what else is hot?
My seat.
Coffee.
Ah,
that
that's
means
so
Your
close.
seat's cold. My coffee's
You
hot.
guessed it, so you got to read it. No, I'm kidding.
I can if you hand it to me. It'd take me
Have
too
him
long to
do
pull
it.
up.
Nope, I got it. I got it.
Coffee House 5, and that's as far as I remember.
Yes, coffee. That's why we're talking about it because of our ad sponsor, Coffee House 5. Coffee House 5, with locations in Franklin and Greenwood, and soon a third in Bargersville. Coffee House 5 is Johnson
Soon.
County's premier independent coffee shop to relax, study, or meet friends around great coffee and great food Monday through Saturday. Whether it's a handcrafted espresso or a single origin pour over, you'll enjoy the freshest, smoothest coffee possible, roasted in-house at their Franklin location using a unique airbed roasting process. And don't forget to pair your coffee with a ham and cheddar scone, biscuits and gravy, made with their award-winning Parmesan chive biscuit, or any of their other pastries and sandwiches prepared in their Franklin kitchen using family recipes in a style they call Midwest comfort food.
As if that's not enough to get your attention, Coffee House 5 is a for-benefit coffee house.
Keep it up, go.
All profits are invested in building a stronger community through the support of local mental health services, which you can read more about on their website, coffeehouse5.com. So the next time you're in Franklin or Greenwood or soon Bargersville, stop by Coffee House 5. I thought Tristan joined in too. I thought we were all doing it.
I don't have it up right.
Oh,
Old
you were
school.
too slow.
I like it. I thought I heard an echo.
Yeah, I loved it.
So I was sitting in front of my computer.
I never do that.
Yeah, right?
It's your computer, not mine.
It was weird. So I was sitting there this morning looking at our template for every episode, thinking about what we were going to talk about in a couple hours. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about something that it has to do with being business owners and dealing with some of the things. And I don't think people talk about the other side because it's always like, look at me, I own a business and I'm rich and I can do whatever I want all the time.
Well, he's like all the time when he comes into the office.
I know, right?
That's what he says.
This guy.
He's like, look at me.
Or
Well, yeah.
No,
Like,
yeah.
look at me, I'm rich. You're like, look at us. We're
yeah,
rich.
I just throw dollar bills at everyone when I walk in.
You look at your bank account and you wipe away your tears with your $1 bills.
But no, there's a reality to all of this, that starting a business takes a lot of work and a lot of time. So today, my main bullet point just says overworked.
You guys do work a lot.
We work a lot. I figured we could talk about what our schedule looks like from time to time. And the ramifications of that. Is
Tristan.
it worth it, Tristan? Is it
Yeah.
worth it?
What do you
For
mean?
people out there, there's a child, an impressionable child sitting somewhere listening to our podcast, thinking these geniuses. I'm going to start a business, and because of them specifically,
They're in timeout, and their parents make him listen to
They're
You
learning
listen
how
to-
to start a business.
you listen to TRIFLIX Cast.
They know what they're talking about.
I don't
and you
want to listen.
It's like a moral lesson. These boys know what they're talking about. You don't.
So you want to do a life in the day?
Yeah,
a
what-
day in the life?
To a certain degree, yeah.
I saw your face. You had some reactions. What's going on in your brain?
I just didn't know we were talking about this today. I'm excited. This is interesting to me because I don't know what you do.
You don't know what
Producer
I
man.
do?
I don't know what you do.
You don't know what I do. You want
don't-
me to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Wow,
you go.
that's funny.
What do you do?
What day? Give me a day, though. Then I give you an idea. It kind of depends.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. But the thing is like Monday is like the starting of the week, so that's like a
All right,
different.
Wednesday. What do you do on Wednesdays?
There you go. I like it. So
Monday. What is it?
Think of it.
Yeah.
Think of
Monday's fine. It's just like I'll give you some context, I guess, at least. So
Yeah.
Sundays I normally try to take some time and let thoughts process, so that I am fresh and ready for the week. Now that usually means there's usually a little bit of catching up on certain things, administrative stuff, checking, invoices, making sure things are paid, sending emails to clients, whatever it might be, to just get caught up so that I don't feel like I'm drowning on Monday. I like that. I also try to make sure that our Monday morning meeting formatting is all set up as well. And sometimes that's just changing a status box if it's not at the beginning of the month.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Sundays are chill. Usually. Depends. It's the Lord's Day, so must treat it that way.
Well, vacations are for quitters, and that's basically a vacation.
I guess.
Sounds like a hobby.
So I try to reserve the first half of Mondays to be able to. We have our red eye meetings with the whole team, so that starts at 7:30. So I like to reserve the first half of that day to be able to talk through the meeting, and then also maybe have some individual meetings. We also shoot our Tuesday tips usually on Monday before Tuesday, so I take time to do that as well, and then usually shooting houses after that. So that's why Monday's kind of. It's fine. It's just different. The rest of the days, the structure is usually get up around either 6 or 7. Depends on the workload. I get up, I shower. I like to take time to like think. So it's not like wake up at 6:45 and I'm like, I've got 15 minutes to brush my teeth and take a shower and like get ready for the day. I like to take my time so I can like
build up to it.
Yeah. Like I could jump into it, but like mentally, let's take our time.
Gotta get in that space.
So I'll wake up a little bit earlier, just so I'm not rushed. I don't like feeling rushed. How about that? That's the reason. So I'll get up around 6 or 7, make sure I look good, I don't stank, all those things.
And
then usually at least by 7 o'clock, like let's say I got up 6, at least by 7 o'clock, now I'm usually editing the exteriors for the houses that we shot the day before, and then critiquing edits on the interiors and then sending those out. And that's usually all before running out the door with all my equipment and shooting houses. That's 90% of my days are like going and shooting real estate listings. And that's just depends on what I do. I try to max out 3 to 4 a day. And if that's the case, I leave in the morning, usually around 9 or 10 o'clock, depending upon the location, and I'll shoot till 3 or 4 o'clock. And then I come home and I upload everything interior wise to get edited, and then start the HDR processing on the exteriors. And then hopefully there's not like a podcast to produce or a thumbnail to make, or somebody needs help on something like approving a video or making more graphics for something else or talking to Tristan about financial stuff. And if all of that also happens in the day, I'll usually be done by 8 or 9 o'clock.
PM.
And that's pretty much
it's
like
just an hour of my day.
Yeah. But that's like the usual day to day. There's sometimes when I don't have shoots, I can come into the office and just get like administrative work done. Tristan and I can talk about budgets.
It was relatively consistent.
Relatively consistent, yes.
Okay. How long did it take you to settle into that mode?
Well, there was a big shift recently, and that was when we started offloading some of the editing processes to external companies or an external company. So it used to be that I would edit at least 1 to 2 shoots fully in the morning, go shoot all the stuff from that day, and then start the HDRing process and at least edit another 1 to 2 that night, and then get up and do all that again to stay caught up. I never wanted it. I mean, our turnaround time is supposed to be 24 hours. So I like to keep that up. And
that's really, really short.
Yes. So the
in
big deal
the video
is
world, that doesn't sound possible a lot of times.
It's not.
We can do it, but we don't do that.
That's not true at all. That is a not true statement.
If you had no other projects going on, you could do it.
Yeah, if Daniel or I have the footage and it's like
it's possible in an alternative
from the time
universe.
From the time I finish a shoot, if I like head back to the office and I have nothing else to do until my next shoot, then it's like a real estate video can go out in like 3 to 4 hours. But the problem is we have 2 or 3 of those at a time.
They're stacked.
Yeah. So it's like if you're only doing 1 a day, you could do it. But if you're doing 2 or 3 plus other projects, it's like no.
And we also have like processes around everything now. I mean, it's like if I was just sending Tristan footage and he was editing it specifically for that, he could finish it, approve it, if I see revisions that need to happen, he can make revisions, and it would be somewhat of a quicker process. But now it's like, in order to be able to spread the workload and take on more projects, so we're working simultaneous, sometimes it's like I might be out and I can't do a revision check and then make those until I get back, which is usually in the afternoon. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer and something else is getting worked on while something sits. There's always this kind of like shuffling through projects mode that's going on, that it's like it has to go. Footage gets uploaded, Daniel sees it, he edits, and then he sends that version to Tristan. Tristan does what he needs to do with it, and then he uploads it. I check it. If it needs revisions, then I send it back to him, let him know, and then he'll send me the final version, then I deliver to the client.
Yeah.
Do you have much downtime?
No.
Not like between projects, like during the day? Like you said you're going to like 8,
if they
9.
cancel.
8 or 9
Sometimes
PM.
things cancel out of nowhere, especially with real estate, and that usually will give me some time. But I try to spread everything out in the day to where I'm not killing myself in between each shoot. Because if I have the opportunity to offload a card and get something uploaded in the car, I'll do it. But the thing is, if I have downtime, usually because of the distance in between shoots, I sit in the car. That's my opportunity to get lunch. Because I will normally schedule over lunch.
Wow.
Just to make sure that I can fit everything in.
I see why you don't eat very much.
Don't have time. Don't think about it. It's on to the next. Got to get the projects done, Because the nice thing is like real estate stuff is quick turn. So we can churn those out, and it doesn't make as much money as the larger production projects. But the nice thing is when you have projects that are lined across the whole spectrum of cost, the smaller stuff, churn it quick and consistent, and it just keeps little sums of money coming in at all times. We can guarantee that we have payouts coming from our payment processor like throughout the week at normal times. And then we wait for like the big payouts to help, then boost the bank account to help have some fluff, and hopefully Tristan and I can then also take draws as owners.
We can get paid.
Right, because when it comes to, this is one of the things I think people don't think about with business is when you go to take the next step and grow, if you're not just by yourself, we unlike maybe some other people, you're supposed to prioritize your employees and your contractors and everybody before you pay yourself. I mean, that's just common business practice if you're moral and ethical.
What?
So at the end of the day, right, we make sure that everybody has their money allocated, and then we just hope. Not that I shouldn't say hope. We look at everything and everything's pretty calculated. We hope that we get paid on time so that Tristan and I can take what is left to be able to pay ourselves.
Sure.
Which is also a predetermined amount. So we try to hit that goal every month. And then if there's anything above and beyond that,
it goes to next month's bills.
Yeah. We either put it into the next month. If we think we're doing really well, we'll pull a little extra, but that I think has happened once. So it just depends.
So you have a pretty continuous daily grind.
Yes.
For what you're working through. Not a lot of variation between the type of shoots that you have.
Not so much.
Aside from just the location.
This past year has changed a lot of things for us. We've broken into the Airbnb rental business a lot. So we've been shooting a lot of properties that, that's a bit different. It's less fast paced. You can take your time, and they're marketing photos. So this is something that someone's going to take.
Really nice.
And they're going to take these photos and they're going to use them on social media and their website. And so these things are going to morph and change, and they're going to use them over a longer period of time.
I didn't even think about that.
So we take a little bit longer on those, and I usually shoot more because I have the ability to. Which we need to change our pricing model on all that. It's a really good deal right now if you're listening and you need Airbnb shots.
Great deals on TRIFLIX.com.
It's seriously a great deal.
TRIFLIX.com/services.
But that's changed a lot of my day to day. I enjoy it more. You always have to have your bread and butter. It's like listings. It's like I can go, I can shoot. I know my times per square footage, condition of the house. Like all those things are fast. I know it. I've been doing it for 5 years. But the marketing type stuff for like rentals and Airbnbs has been really nice to break the monogamy of like day to day.
Monogamy. The monogamy. Yeah,
monotony.
The monogamy.
Monogamous.
I'm not going to be tied down to one service.
One day.
I want to do more services.
Hey, yeah, that
you
makes
can't
sense.
keep me limited. Tristan, I know your
true, though.
daily grind is a bit different.
Yeah. So I'm pretty pumped.
There's a lot of variation, I would say, between projects, right?
I always forget a lot of the stuff, so I had to write some of it down.
Do you have any other questions or anything? Because I know you said, "What do I do on a day-to-day basis?" Does that answer your question?
I know what you do on a daily basis.
So you know what he does. Is that accurate?
I'm well aware.
I did not. There was one thing I forgot. I usually have probably 2 to 4 phone calls a day with Tristan.
Yeah.
At least.
And you're updating stuff on Monday too.
Correct.
Yeah,
so all sorts of communication.
And we're using Google Chat as well to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you
I
can't
kind of wish it was all
communicate, you can't.
unified, but
That'd be amazing.
It's a work life.
Yeah.
If you can't communicate in a marriage, you shouldn't own a partnership business.
Sometimes they kiss each other goodnight.
Yeah. It depends on
the forehead.
It depends on how late we're working at the office. Yeah, we'll come in the podcast room and I'll lay out on the couch for a bit.
This is actually a futon, and they have their pillows.
That's a great idea,
dude. I take naps on this. Pretty.
Our couch is like more comfortable than beds.
There's something special about wearing full clothes as opposed to like going to sleep at night where you may dress like in night clothes or whatever, or dress down. But like if you're wearing jeans and a hoodie,
what's your night clothes? What do you sleep in?
Honestly, it's just like boxer briefs. Sometimes I'll wear shorts or a t-shirt with it, depending on how cold it is.
Yeah, David?
Depending on how cold it is, but I like wearing like flannel pants and like sometimes a hoodie.
Damn. Dude, you're a pants man.
I am a
dude. I can't.
I get hot.
That'd be like if he said he wore socks.
I'm
too.
also.
I have
my
worn
location's
socks,
in a basement,
but not.
That's true.
I don't like wearing socks. Period. If I don't have shoes on, I don't like wearing the socks.
Heard that.
You should buy some. You should buy some Birkenstocks. I know a guy.
You got an extra 200K
my toes around.
That's super funny. So you and I are the same. I normally I can't sleep with like a bunch of clothes on.
Yeah, it's some underoos, and if that's too cold, then you just start adding a couple layers at a time.
Well, blankets.
Well,
I just have a thicker blanket that I use.
I got a weighted blanket,
thin comforter, man. I can't do fluff. I get so hot.
Really?
Yeah, I need a thin comforter.
You run hot, boy.
Yeah, like a quilt. You know, like a quilt is thin versus like a comforter.
I get that.
They're sometimes really, really fluffy.
I think ours is like that thick.
Oh my gosh, no.
It's UGG.
Oh.
But we only use it during the winter.
Okay.
And the funny thing is like she likes super heavy blankets, and I'm like,
does she have a weighted blanket?
No.
You get her a weighted blanket.
I wake up sweating.
She hasn't asked for one. She buys blankets all the time, so I'm like, she's the blanket queen.
That's Christmas gift.
I'm always like, hey, I need a blanket, and she's like, I gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm using a what's the brand? Why can't I think of what it's called? It's at the outlet mall. It's all flowery print.
It's mainly shoes at the outlet mall.
There's a blanket store.
It's like
Nirvana.
Stores.
I got my weighted blanket from Nirvana.
But it's just like a fleece blanket. Like it's nothing crazy.
Yeah. And I wake up in sweats every single night.
What?
Now, because I'm staying at my family's house and they have like this thick comforter. It's like it's real fluffy. And every single day I wake up sweating.
Why don't you use BYOB?
Because my family likes the bed to be made, and then I'd have to find somewhere to store it, and there's not really any place to store it. Everything's very meticulous. So I'm like, I'm just, I know they're gonna hear this. So sorry. I like. Thanks for letting me stay at your house. Appreciate it.
He has said so many horrible. Sorry, I was just
heard him
curious
before the podcast started.
Oh yeah,
I was curious about nightwear, but go ahead.
Yeah. So I start off my day. I talk to corporate.
Yes. Corporate.
Talk to corporate.
I approve memos.
Been on those calls.
I lead a workshop.
Man, memos.
I remember birthdays.
Like a boss.
Direct workflow.
Like a boss.
You talk to
my
your
own
assistant.
bathroom.
Like a boss.
Micromanage.
Eat some chicken strips.
Where's Deborah? Deborah, I need your desk.
Yeah. Deborah brings in your 8:30 cup of, what do you drink? Water. Yeah.
Tea.
It's just water with a single ice cube.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's not my schedule. Don't worry. That's
there is no Deborah.
This
Not
Daniel's
yet.
schedule.
There's no Deborah. There's no corporate. There's no birthdays.
It's pronounced
We don't have
Deborah.
birthdays. Yeah, Cole doesn't have
Where
a birthday.
does that come from? Is that
I believe Deborah.
Deborah.
Deborah. Yeah. No, my schedule is always different. It's never the same. Like all the time. It's just.
I was gonna say yours fluctuates a ton.
Yeah. So sometimes
Depends on when he wants to wake up.
Depends on when I wake up. That's true. Some days
For now.
like a good schedule. Whenever everything is.
Let's call it a productive schedule.
No, it's just like the ideal day.
I love how we have to find like creative ways for Tristan's schedule to sound good.
I know.
Oh yeah, no, it's all over.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's so
Is
intermittent.
it even
I'm
worth
done
even
interrupting
called
you.
a schedule?
You can
Yeah.
keep interrupting. I don't care.
It's just funny.
What's your favorite color?
It's orange. I really like it. Let's talk about that for
That's
half
why
hour.
we get along, because orange and red said they're like cousins. They're
Yeah.
like color cousins.
They're like
Color
cousins.
Hey,
Seriously.
color cuz. It's funny because you're wearing a blue duck shirt.
Oh, I am.
The opposite of orange.
Okay, tell me your schedule.
Yeah.
I want to hear this.
so-
I'm intrigued.
So, on a good week where things don't change too much, I wake up around 4:45 and I go work out at 5:15 a.m.
right.
And I've been doing that pretty consistently. Again, just we've been moving, we've been doing a lot of things, so it's like the schedule's always fluctuating. But
Yeah.
this is what I like whenever it happens: is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I work out at around 5:15 and then wrap up after about an hour. Go home, shower. I wish I still had video games, because I used to like kind of decompress in the morning, and I'd make a really good breakfast and smoothies and eggs and stuff, and then
You're
I'd
almost there, buddy.
play some video games. And then usually by 7 to 7:30, I would start getting ready for work, and I would start like at my house, still on my computer. I would start going through like emails and start looking through our budget and just trying to review everything, so that way whenever I come in, if there's anything I need to talk about before the day starts, I can start talking to Cole or Daniel or whatever. Sometimes I'll go through Monday at the house, but that was less common. It was less interesting. Emails and budget, that's the cool stuff. Very
It's so
interesting.
cool.
High level.
I love it.
I don't know. I really like finances and stuff, so it's like somehow I just claimed that and took it, and
It's fantastic.
everyone just says, "Do we have money for this thing?" And I look at it, and we do or we don't.
I love asking you
It's the best.
money.
My wife asked me a question about the business financials or whatever, and I was like, I don't know. I got to ask Tristan. it's this whole
You can have access to it. I don't care.
I'm good. I would much rather, like, we are to the point where being able to offload jobs, because it's like when you wake up and you have to think about 30 different things about the business, like
Yeah.
it's not productive. So it's like,
Yeah.
as the budget man, right?
Budget man.
You have to keep up on your projects and the budget, so you check those things.
Yeah.
I don't need to wake up and check the budget because somebody else is.
And he doesn't have to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So
And,
you do all that.
Yeah, and then I'll come in usually between 7:30 and 8:30, and I will go through Monday and see whatever I have to work on, but most likely I don't need to do that. Most likely I know what my big project is, because I don't have like these one-off, like, well, actually I do have the one-offs. I don't have the consistent, like, I shot 3 houses yesterday. I shoot 3 houses today. Tomorrow I shoot 3 houses. Someone canceled. I'm eating lunch. You know, I don't get that. But I know what big projects I have, and I know for the most part what Daniel needs to be working on. And unless it's a Monday morning meeting where we're reviewing stuff, I pretty much will just jump straight into whatever it is I need to edit, or most of the time it's managing files, which sounds really dumb, but because
That's a huge part of it.
we're dealing with terabytes at a time, if any data's gone, which happened this morning, it's like, if any data's gone, it's like, why isn't it there? Where did it go? How do I get it back? Before Daniel. So I offloaded our...
His IT senses start tingling.
Our big
Where's your
shoot
footage?
yesterday was like, it was only 200 gigs. And I imported it. That's a great day for
That's a
two
good day.
For us,
houses.
it's only 2.
And that was
100 gig
it was
per
ProRes,
unit.
ProRes HQ too. So that's like their big Big data.
Oh yeah, I didn't know if you were gonna switch it. I'm glad you kept it.
Yeah, I kept it for it. I should have. Out of that shoot, like 4 files, it said everything was imported, and 4 files just weren't. And I found this out because I switched from proxy to optimized. The proxies were there, which is like a down sample of the file, like a smaller version that we made to be like a placeholder, so it's easier, faster to edit. When you set it back to the original media, it's like the raw original file, and it's slower for the computer to process. So I switched back to the original media, the optimized media, and there was just like 5 files missing randomly. One was 10 gigabytes, one was 200 megabytes, and then there was like a variation of others.
Were these like all of like from the camera, or were they like random sources?
They were all from a camera, same camera, and it told me the import was completed. So I don't know why. I just dragged and dropped them back from my card on the timeline, and they were fine.
Still on the card?
Yeah. Cool. I generally triple check that stuff anymore, just because you never know what you're gonna miss. Indubitably. Cool. So a lot of my work is just finding problems and fixing them in the middle,
or telling other people how to fix how to fix them. Yeah.
A lot less of this now, but I used to train Daniel a lot throughout the day and have to micromanage him, but he's becoming more autonomous, which allows me to focus more on checking with Monday and running through things. I mean, it depends. So some days I'm setting up shoots, some days I'm editing, some days I'm at an all day shoot, some weeks I'm at an all week shoot, and it just varies a lot. And then a lot of prepping for shoots, a lot of getting equipment ready, a lot of eating lunch. I don't go without lunch. I die. I need 8 hours of sleep, and I need food. If I don't work.
If you haven't seen these commercials, you should look them up.
Snickers.
Yes. Tristan can be explained by watching these commercials. There used to be these commercials where like one celebrity, or like, it would be a celebrity that turns into a normal person, but they were like mad and angry, and they're like, hey John, you need a Snickers, you're hungry, and he's like, and then they'd eat the Snickers and turn back into the normal person.
Yeah.
Tristan is that angry person pre-Snickers.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's my default. Eating is what sends me back.
When I know we have clients that are cool, which most of them are, there was one recently I actually told, I was like, hey, we're gonna have to do lunch soon, because I was like, Tristan here gets hangry, and he just took this knowledge and soaked it up. And the next time we were shooting, which was like a period of weeks in between, we went back to shoot with them, and he comes up to Tristan, he's like, Tristan, it's been a long day, do you need something to eat? He goes,
John?
No, it was Scott. Oh. And Scott comes up and he's like, hey, I heard that it was maybe more colorful language, but it was like, I heard that you become quite the hangry person if you don't eat. And Tristan's face just went completely red, and he was like, I'm good, and I was dying laughing.
That's hilarious. Yeah. No, I can't function. I can't think straight.
I learned this,
and I can't think straight. And when I don't eat, I think even less straight.
This is true.
Don't let this man get his feet wet. Or not without a jacket.
He kept working, but it wasn't without the complaining.
Imagine if he was hungry though.
Well, no, yesterday I was like shaking because of how cold it was there, like to the point that I was
wear a jacket. It is winter in Indiana.
I can't wear that. I can't wear the backpack though. With it is the problem, and I don't have any sweaters at my house.
Why not?
Because I have to be able to move, and they're all like tight. Whenever you put the harness
sweater,
on,
then
it's like wearing
long sleeve.
It's like it's like whenever you go to the amusement park and you get on a roller coaster and you have to get like locked in, and then you're wearing a sweater, and then you're like, all right, now move your arms around a whole bunch and run around a house. It's like that like a level of like compression all over.
There's things that exist.
Well, yeah, there are, but I'm staying at family's house and I don't have all my clothes.
Oh, that's true.
All I have is t-shirts and really thick winter jackets and a lot of excuses.
Yes, but
I should just go buy a hoodie.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna give you a little slack just because, like, the first couple years that I was shooting houses, I went through a lot of rough times, especially in the winter. Like, it was like wet, cold feet. Not enough layers I was just like freezing. My hands were getting so cold I would have to take breaks in between shots of like interiors and exteriors and stuff. But I bought a good coat. I have waterproof shoes that keep my feet warm all day. I have like gloves and hats. I have like all the things. I walked a 50-acre property last winter and just shot pictures all day. I was actually sweating, and it was like 20 degrees. It takes time. Time. You'll figure out your methods. Yeah. But it's like, because he was like, well, you would expect the heat to be on in a brand new renovated place. And I'm like, I understand that.
They expected the heat to be on.
Yes, but you have to expect the unexpected, especially with houses, because you never know what you're going to run into.
And I'm a Boy Scout, so I have experience with being outside
with houses.
It was like my first shoot with Jessica. Like, I went to North Vernon, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
And she was like, beautiful place that it was being worked on. You know, it needs to be remodeled, this and that. You know, the power is probably not going to be on. Just a heads up. But it wasn't like I showed up and it was just like gutted, no air. You know, no heat.
Oh yeah.
Open to the elements in certain places. Like, this place was freezing. And
was it like an old Victorian? Like,
yes.
Oh, dude,
it was a beautiful home.
I bet that looked nice.
And I'm pretty sure she told me it winded up being in a publication of some sort that they used the pictures for, because it was a beautiful old home.
That's cool.
Was it on the main strip, right? Like, if you stay on the highway driving through North Vernon, was it like on that main road when it converts into like?
I believe so. I think it came off of.
I think I know the house you're talking about. That's beautiful. That's such a good. Yeah,
but it was like my first time.
Really nice Victorian homes.
It's my first time going out there too. But it was just one of those things. Like, she didn't tell me, right, that any of it was going to be that way. So you're like, who knows what you're going to run into?
Yeah,
it's craziness.
So yeah, that's up to lunch. I find food. Sometimes lunch is at 10 a.m. Sometimes lunch is at 3 p.m. It just depends on how much work I have to do and when it has to go out, because deadlines are usually what determine that. But then also, like, if I'm out of town at a shoot, then it's like I'll eat after or whatever. It just depends. But I will eat at some point. And then some days I can get out at 3 p.m. Some days I can get out at 5 a.m. the next morning. It just depends on deadlines, and it's how I was in college.
Depends on how long you pushed a project off and how close the deadline's coming up.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the way it was in college too. That's the way I operate. It's like
we're finding that out.
I guess
you are.
I was like, he's known this all the time. It's like I would wait till like the project like was due, like the next day in college, and then I would start at like 8 p.m. and then just crank it out until it was done.
I did that with papers, and I got like solid B's for like a really long time.
Oh, and see, I could probably disclose this now.
But see, that's the problem. Okay. And I want you to tell that.
The project is a solid B.
Thank you. Yeah. The problem is that I was the same way in college, okay?
Yeah.
Same way in school. Yeah. Wait till the night before. Write a paper hours before you had to go in, right? And I slid by, which is fine. But I just got so tired of the feeling, of being rushed and all that.
That's what I live for. It's my favorite feeling.
But my issue is, again, the issue is like, is at if you were sending out like Bs, that's still like, you're like, oh, the project is out on time. But then I've got to do revisions. Well, because something gets missed because it's 5 a.m. and you've been up for 18 hours.
Yeah, that never happens.
I usually get back in by like noon the next day. Like, I'm only out for 6.
I was impressed about that. Yes, you did a good job on that.
So back in
elementary school,
it doesn't matter. I can say it now.
It's been disclosed.
My best friend, he is really smart, and he helped me out a lot with all my math classes and anything math related. However, the boy was borderline illiterate when it came to writing. So what he would do is he'd pay me $10 a page to write all of his papers for him. So I ended up I got him a higher grade in the same class, and I wrote like every paper had to be written twice. I write one for him based on his perspective on life. Like, I would genuinely try to be like, what would
redacted
say? How would he word things? There's his name. And then I would
redacted.
Yeah. And then I would write my papers, and I ended up getting him every single one of his papers was an A. Same teacher, same course. Every one of his papers was an A to A+. Every one of my papers was an A- to a B+. And like I don't have a problem.
Did he have a problem review them at all before he sent them in?
Sometimes. I feel like after a couple of the papers, he just stopped caring because they were all high enough that he was like, that's good.
Hey, man, like if 2 or 3 papers come back as A's, like I'd be like, okay, great. This dude knows what he's talking about. Send them on.
Yeah. So I was like, I really enjoyed doing it. I really like writing, so it wasn't an issue. And I would be able to like rip those out in like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And it was the same paper would have taken him 6 or 7 hours, and he would rather allocate that time to things he was more interested in. It's an engineering program. He wants to do engineering. Why does he have to write? Now, arguably, you have to write emails later on, but it doesn't.
You learn that stuff in high school.
Yeah, it's like
if you can't write an email coming out of high school, you've been severely failed.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I've always kind of had that work style. I don't know. I like the pressure of like, I've been doing things that, as long as I have something else to work on, it's not like I'm just screwing around doing nothing and then the deadline and then I do all the work. It's like, I know I have something to do and I have 10 other things to do. And while that one may be priority right now, I could give way more attention and like focus, because the amount of focus I have is a finite resource.
This is true.
But for whatever reason, whenever it's something I'm interested in, it is not something I have to put any effort in, which is where we've come into budget apps. That was a complete development over the course of one night. I went home at like 6 p.m. after work, and I was like, I want to budget. We don't budget. And I think I had another project due the next day, and I was like, I want to learn how to budget right now. And from 6 p.m. until like 3 a.m., I just had, no one asked for this. Nobody wanted this. And I spent the next like 8 hours budgeting, and I take everything and just consolidate it. And then over the course of 8 hours, I become a high level savant in a specific budgeting app, to the point that I'm converting other people to using it. And it's like, nobody asked for that.
Shout out Wine App.
Actually, I was using Wine App, and then but prior to that, I did the exact same thing like a month earlier with Mint.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then it's like, I did the same thing with Wave whenever that came out.
So much better than Mint.
Yeah. Well, I did the same thing with Monday. Like, I'm like, I know I have something that I need to do, but I have so much more attention for this other thing that I still will benefit either myself, my wife, the business. Like, it will benefit something, so I don't view it as a waste of time, which is where we've ran into the discussion of like, what is a hobby? And it's like, to me, I don't know. It's just, I'm bored and there's this thing that's interesting to me and I'm just going to do it. But if it's not work related, if it doesn't benefit something, I'm not that interested. Like, it has, like watching TV or movies, like video games are pretty much the only thing. Aside from video games, if it's not benefiting something like working out, riding a bike, like physical, mental, financial, then I'm like, I don't get it, what the point is. So I don't have a whole lot of downtime outside of work.
It doesn't benefit me, I'm out.
If it ain't mutually beneficial, if it doesn't benefit me or someone else, then it's like, I don't know why I'm doing it. But
makes sense.
So sometimes I'm in and out of work. Sometimes usually by 3 to, more likely it's usually by 6 or 7 p.m. I'm usually heading out. More recently, it's just been, I got to get the house ready for the woman and the child.
I was going to say, your life is about to change drastically, so I'm interested to see how all of that plays into your day to day.
But I would love to just work out in the morning, check my emails, play video games for like an hour or so, and then come in around 8 or so, get out of the house, check in with Daniel, make sure he's working on stuff, and then actually start being able to creative direct again, like doing things aside from just, here's a project, work on it. Like, actually coming up with like new ideas for ways that we can market or brand, or new projects that we can pitch, or new services, which I've been getting more time to do lately because we've almost finished the house.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But
and I know that's important. I think part of the thing that I've tried to grow into as well is like, I've always enjoyed the thought, and I've done it a couple times, but like managing people. And I think you have to learn your surroundings and your people, and what motivates people and what doesn't. And David and I have had many heart-to-hearts about each other, because he and I are about polar opposites when it comes to a lot of things.
Yeah.
Many things.
Not in bad ways, just different.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's there's no way to really like navigate that stuff without having open and honest conversations about things. Yeah. And so I've been trying to do more of that, and it's like, I understand that Tristan can't stare at a screen all day and edit constantly week in and week out and be a functioning member of the company. So
I can force it every once in a while, but not consistent.
The problem is it is for a finite period of time.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, though, is like you're so burnt out that kind of working through that, it's not worth that.
It's usually like a 3-month span is my max.
Yeah.
Of anything. Like if I do the same thing consistently for 3 months after that, like I either have to really be into it, like longboarding I still love longboarding, but like if it's not like something that I'm really into, then 3 months is about the consistently over my lifetime, I'll get into something that I know is the right thing to do. And after 3 months, I'm like, I can't maintain it because it's not that interesting.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, we're trying to find different ways to break things up. And that's why if you guys listen to the last episode, we talk about how Tristan is going to do some more creative work and we're trying to do a new series that he's going to host.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help break up
the uploads,
break up your day.
The topics are not.
Yeah. Which is what, you need ways to also release just like all of us, right? I mean, it's like, I want to break up my day with different projects and be able to shoot different subjects and things. And that helps me to not, fall into the same rut of just being like, here I am, I'm pumping out work. This is great. You got to find ways to do that, I think, or you end up at burnout zone.
Yeah.
And some people have the ability to push through that and some don't, some need the outlet. And so that's why it's like, Tristan needs an outlet. I want to find that we needs to find an outlet.
I don't know what you're brainstorming, but
there's a document for it.
I haven't looked at it yet, but my pitch is
Hunter
a series called I Found This Interesting. And it's just, you take that prompt and Tristan just says at the beginning of the video, I found this interesting. And you just dump into whatever.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's pretty much it. Yeah.
So
you know him just well enough to know that that's where this man is headed.
I guess I didn't actually go into this either. It's like usually whenever I'm not working, I'm still, unless I was able to completely shut off, and sometimes I can, but most of the time, like laying in bed, I'm still thinking about work. And the other night I texted him and I was like, I know what I want to call the show at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I was like, unlicensed opinion. I love it. That's what it's called. Yeah. The whole show is just my unlicensed opinion on everything.
You have no credentials to have his opinion, but here it is anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I want to like help educate in things that are still relative to our business, but there's a lot of things that I'm not an expert on, but I've done enough research that I feel like I could point them in the direction. We talked about this the other day. It's like, if that's all I want to do, I just want to point you to an expert.
It's a good disclaimer too.
Yeah.
At the same time,
I
it's
know,
like
right?
you can't trust anything I'm about to say, but
it's in the title, right? It's like, that's
perfect.
It's pretty cool. I'm excited to start work on it. I know we've got a lot of stuff jotted down, but we got to work on formatting and everything and work through some of that. So I'm excited about it. Hopefully we can get that started by the beginning of next year. And
sounds like something you're passionate about.
Yeah, for sure. We want to do, that was, this all leads to the same thing. Like Tristan and I don't think there's many minutes of the day that we're not thinking about the business. Yeah. And I think that's also the difference between being an owner and just working for a company, right? Yeah. So it's like, we're always trying to find ways to expand what we're doing, but we have a goal of creative freedom, be able to make series and shows and, short films and all these things. So now we have the ability to do some of that. And I enjoy doing the Tuesday tip. It's fun. I love seeing the final product. And when it pops up in a feed naturally as well, I'm like, that's fun.
I think you like it largely in part because you're not the one editing it. I think if you were the one shooting and editing, that would really detract from it, because it almost,
for sure,
it feels more fun and less like work, since, you still produce, but you get to focus on the thing that you enjoy more out of that pipeline, as opposed to like the editing. Because that was the issue with whenever David and I were trying to do tutorial stuff, was like either he would edit or I would edit, and it was like neither of us really, you did a really good job, but it was like neither of us really wanted to do that at the time. Like, I don't know.
I get it.
It was just like an extra thing.
Like the tutorials?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a great job on them, but it was just like, I know you would have rather not if you had the choice.
I thought it was fun because I could like put in memes and like make it entertaining. Yeah. Which I did enjoy. But like some of them were just like not like captivating to do.
Yeah.
And so it was like I didn't have that like passion to make it interesting.
But that's like the skill that I really wanted Daniel to pick up was like, all right, here's literally poop. Polish it, make it nice, make it pretty.
Yeah.
And he has. Like last week's tip, there are some days, and again, this is like finding time. You know, we want to keep up on these things, and like consistency is one of my biggest gripes across everything we do. And so we've been super consistent, and I love it, even though there's times 90% of the time that we shoot and edit on Monday before it gets released on Tuesday, or it's being revised on Tuesday before it gets pumped out.
Yeah.
But it's like, at the end of the day, you know, I lost my train of thought. What were we talking
Where's
about?
the train? I don't know where to
The
go.
train's gone.
Consistency is your biggest pet peeve. And that you're really happy with how the tips
so
are.
like sometimes again it can get, you know, it feels rushed, and I'd like to have more time, and I think time is one of our biggest things, right? So it's like being able to now hopefully find some of that time. I think I would like to be able to do that process and not be rushed. I think it's my only gripe. But I love it though. It's fun, and Daniel has done a fantastic job with editing, because like I said, there's some days I'm rushed, we need to get it done, and I pump something out and I just feel like that was not good. And that's happened with multiple of them. But then again, with last week's, I was like, I saw it and I'm like, wow, this was actually pretty awesome.
I remember doing the wedding videos when we first started. Like you just had me trimmed down.
Yeah.
And that really killed me.
That'll suck the life out of you.
But yeah, that really was not enjoyable.
The thing is, my wife she started trimming for a while too, because Daniel was still learning, and now we had too many projects. She really likes trimming. She can throw a video on the side, she can watch stuff, and she can just trim for hours. She's like, this is because she's already like watching TV most of the day, where, you know, she's like she's not on her stimulant right now because of the baby. So it's like, all right, I could just sit here and go deep up and like watch a video on the side. So it works out really well, but it's just everybody's personality is different. So you gotta try to find, like you said, what motivates everyone.
And the reason for me doing it is a lot different than Daniel doing it too.
Yes.
I was pitching in so you could actually do your job and like, you know, figure things out. And so I was filling in with the resources that I had, and also wanted to learn at the same time. But it wasn't like I want to be a video editor for life. It was like, I want to understand what you're doing and like be good enough at it to help when I need to.
Yeah. I appreciate it, because we still exist.
Yeah.
I totally get it. It's like I hate removing the images that I'm not going to edit, that like going through and being like, rejected, keep, reject, keep. And that I enjoy editing though. I really like doing all of the work in between, just not so much the beginning. It's like, if you could just hand me a pile of images that you know are good and that I could just color grade and like make look pretty,
run it through AI software to trim it down to the only good shots.
Yeah, just give me the crispies.
Dude, speaking overlap for both of those is like the idea that I pitched the other day is like, that's somebody's dream job to make that type of stuff, and if we could pay them. But it's like so funny because it's like neither of us probably would be able to do that consistently, like create this one idea over and over. But it's like somebody out there's like, that's my dream job, I would love to make that type of content every day. And it's like, maybe someday we'll find someone that can, but
takes all kinds, right?
But that also like the people we have in office determine what type of projects we're producing versus what we're slating, and like what is on the back burner is just an idea. So we can all we know our constraints, and we try to stick within them.
I think it's time to go ahead and read our second ad segment today.
Oh my goodness.
I'm pulling out my producer card.
Pulling it out for Passion for Acting Theater Company has a passion for bringing excellent and entertaining live theater to audiences in Bartholomew County. Passion for Acting Theater Company, created in 2018, performs dinner theater productions at the terrific and eclectic Willow Leaves of Hope on the Square in Hope, Indiana. Their first production, The Miracle Worker, was a huge success and received great reviews from audience members. Since then, Passion for Acting Theater Company has performed 10 shows, ranging from comedies like The Kitchen Witches and The Odd Couple to dramas and suspense like the original murder mystery Angel Street, to classic children's literature like Secret Garden and Anne of Green Gables. Their next show will be Kalamazoo, a comedy about what happens when older folks try to get into the online dating scene. Kalamazoo will be performed at Willow Leaves of Hope in February, just in time for Valentine's date or to laugh the winter blues away. Enjoy a delicious dinner and a great night of entertainment at Willow Leaves of Hope. Phone number to call to make reservations is 812-341-7251. Call now to make reservations for this Laugh Out Loud comedy.
Nice.
Boom.
Do it. Call them
now.
Call them and make your reservations. Dinner and a show, baby. You can knock it out in one swoop all together.
You'll get a discount of 100% of the 200% of the price. It's twice half the cost.
Twice half the cost. That makes sense. Oh no.
It's a normal price. You're not getting a discount.
Make login banter. Oh, here we go.
Login. We're bantering.
Open. Okay, cool.
Banter over.
Today we are bringing back a segment for the first time in 9 episodes.
Oh my gosh, it's been 9 episodes.
Really?
Isn't that crazy?
I thought it's been 8.
No. Can you believe that?
Whoa.
Oh my goodness.
Can you believe it?
I feel old.
I believe.
I feel old.
I'm 9 seasons old.
We are bringing back the old wheel of debate. I think we're just gonna change the name of each segment every time.
Wheel of debate.
I think I said wheel of death last time, and I have no idea why.
Wheel of death.
No one dies.
So for those of you who have not seen that episode, this segment is where we have a digital wheel, which we will put up on the screen. It will spin, and it has a bunch of topics that we have written in. We went through the office and wrote in, and it will land on a random topic, and whoever's turn it is will have to argue for that. These are things that most people would not argue for. At least that's the goal. So I think Tristan will go first today.
Oh, and we're doing a little picture-in-picture action, so we don't have to change the angle, so you can see all of our reactions.
Yeah,
And
we thought that would be more fun.
Just throw the wheel over my face.
I
later.
love it.
Just throw it over your face. It just like crops it on my face.
You are a little bit too big. I'll make you a little.
Oh, you need to
smaller.
fix him.
Nah, his head was a little bit big.
It's been a lifelong problem.
All right, we're great. We're good to go.
That predates
the
this.
Okay. Tristan is up. I'm going to hit the button here, and we are going to let this baby tell us what's going on.
Are you screen recording? Yeah,
If
you
it works. It's going.
The screen recorder's killing it.
are. Yeah, that happened last time.
It's the browser.
We're adding a tick right now. Tick, 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 tick.
Okay, Tristan has to argue for why Daniel should be fired.
That's a topic. Has this
While
been approved by Daniel?
while that man is on the other side of this door.
All right. It was not approved.
Wait, can we pull him in real quick for this segment?
Yeah, we can pull him in.
Can we pull
Oh,
him
that's
in?
true. Yeah, you
Just
want to come and sit in?
Come in. You get to defend
Yeah.
yourself.
Okay, come on in.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone.
Can we wide
Oh.
just zoom out my angle?
Shoot.
Just zoom.
We're-
Just don't change anything else. Just zoom out.
We are going to pull Mr. Daniel Morgan in here.
Just shoot to 24. Does it fit him in, or does he need to lean in
No,
a
I
bit?
can just switch the
Does he not
shot.
have-
Oh, he's not in.
Does he not have phones over there?
He doesn't have phones.
Okay,
He'll
he's
just
fine.
he'll be part of the audio experience. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry about the visual. We're
you
zooming
want-
back in on Tristan.
Sorry, the headphones are on the desk. It's all
Ah!
good. He's here with
Alright.
us in spirit.
Yeah, in spirit.
Physically.
Okay, so you heard we spun the wheel, and Tristan has to argue for you being fired.
Do we have a timer?
So now you get to defend yourself.
We're doing a minute and a half. Yeah, 90 seconds.
Yeah, I think we decided on a minute and a half.
A minute and a half. I can start it
Okay,
up.
you let us know
3,
when, and Tristan will start.
2, 1. Start.
Daniel's consistently on time, and the only problem with that is when he's not on time, because he made a point of saying this the other day. He said, "I'm consistently on time except when I'm not," and that seems to be happening at least once a week, maybe every other week, somewhere in there. I feel like that's almost unacceptable because
Being consistently on time is unacceptable.
no, the fact that you claim to be consistently on time, and at the same time you acknowledge that you're late.
But also, if he didn't tell you that he was late, then and he gets all the work done in a really good amount of time, does it really even matter?
Yeah,
Well, the
and if we're
problem-
doing office naps, he might as well be late as well.
He's doing,
Yeah.
but the thing is, I still have to do revisions with him. What if I have to leave early that day, and if he were 15 minutes earlier, then that would have allowed me to get the revision in while I was still at the office. Now I have to wait a whole day to come
Most of the
back.
time, he's still in before you.
Yeah, and he's very crucial to our process. We can't lose him.
Yeah. We are.
Do you
He's
have
taller
time?
than you.
Do you have
Finally
time?
oiled
taller than
machine.
you.
Do you have time?
I can reach stuff for him.
Yeah, but
I need him.
We don't have
I don't know. I feel like it's
Yeah.
kind of like, what if we have more people come
He
in?
turns on
and
all my
he's the
ceiling
tallest?
fans.
He's so much
I
more
need-
positive than like half the people in the office,
I
not
don't know,
including
man.
Kat.
He's the most serious person we have. We need some seriousness around here.
I feel like it's kind of contrasts us a bit too much. Like he's too serious. Yeah,
No.
we need a little more
Damn.
positive
Just
bubbles.
look at his socks. He's the only one wearing colored socks right now. We need this difference.
Yes.
See, that's the problem. He's a
Color
he's a,
and
he-
graphics.
I don't like the
Yeah,
difference.
there we go.
I want him to fit in,
We've
and he's
got
too
two
different.
socks.
He's too different.
He's
Too
fantastic. He can't go
You're
nowhere.
over.
I would not fire you right now. You're doing good.
Right now.
Not right now.
Wow. Okay.
Well, things can change. Things can change.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless the next topic is also
Yeah,
about
you were allowed to defend your honor. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, thank
It
you for
wasn't
sitting in,
approved.
sir.
Get back
Thank
to work.
you. You were on the clock for that, were you?
That was Daniel Morgan, everyone.
I will cut out 5 minutes.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm not in
man.
charge of your
you're
time
on,
card.
You're on time for that. You're good.
Yeah.
Damn, how many times do you have to tap this thing to make it work? There
I
we
don't know.
go.
You're the one that chose it.
It just rolled like one down.
It works. It works great on my laptop. I think it's just the mobile browser.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. It's going.
Dang brave.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, David has to argue for no bread sandwiches.
So just,
Sandwiches
All right.
without the bread.
you have one move where you could just win and everybody would have to agree with you, but you have to play your cards right.
So first of all, I'm the office manager. I'm just in charge of this anyway, so you have to listen to me. 2, it's gluten. It's not good for your body. It messes up for your stomach. It makes it work harder for no reason. We have way too much gluten in the bread than normally would even be possible. It's overdeveloped. It's killing you.
No, this
We
is
want to be
all
living-
wrong. All wrong.
We-
Because here's the
No,
thing:
no, no.
it's you gotta. You're only gonna live once. You need to enjoy
You
it,
gotta
and it
have
tastes
bread.
better with gluten. My wife, she's gluten intolerant, and she agrees that gluten bread tastes better. We have the ability. Nobody here's
All right.
gluten intolerant. Why can't I eat it?
So I'm going to start delivering Papa John's breadsticks solely to Sophia, like starting today, because everybody. No, see, it's
No,
not
no.
good.
Bread is
Look
good.
at that.
Bread is the
No,
best.
it's not good. It's
They
not
don't
good
We're
at
say-
all.
not gluten
It
intolerant.
would
I
make her
want
feel
bread.
so horrible. I would not be
What's
okay
the saying?
doing
It's
that.
the best thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread is the best
man.
thing. It
I would say
supersedes
the wheel.
all other things.
I'd rather eat like a wheel sandwich than a bread sandwich.
A wheel of what?
Yeah.
A wheel? Like a wheel of cheese?
Yeah. Think about it. You can eat more meat
just being
when there's
silly.
less bread.
You're not being
You
serious.
can have
This-
so much
too
more of the
silly.
other ingredients. You can have like lettuce wraps. Think about all the wraps
I
you can
want
have.
Oh, so you're
Filled.
telling me that
Yeah, it's
the
healthier.
lettuce from the inside
I mean,
of the
look at
sandwich
you.
goes to the outside?
I mean,
You
I
gotta
didn't-
have bread.
I
That's
didn't
an
want to point
inside-out
this out,
sandwich.
But Cole,
You know what? I would compromise. We'll put the bread on the inside.
I've noticed you've been eating salads.
Put a little nut butter on top.
I like croutons
It's
because
over.
it's just bread.
Little tiny sandwiches.
Yeah, I make little tiny
You
sandwiches
get
with my
like little
croutons.
tomato, a slice of lettuce, and the bacon bits.
Little bacon bits. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, if you said
I'm still eating bread.
If you would have said
I'm going to. I love bread.
Bread is so good.
Bread makes you fat.
Tell me to go to Olive Garden and don't get a breadstick. Go
Well,
die.
if you would have said replace it with croissants, then I would have agreed with
Croissant?
you. Croissant sandwiches are better than bread sandwiches.
It's bread. Croissant is
Croissant
bread.
is-
I
bread.
thought we were specifically talking about like sliced
Bread.
bread
No,
sandwiches.
bread.
Nah.
Any form of
Any
bread.
bread.
I would have agreed anyways.
Yeah. All right. Last
Croissant.
one's Cole.
Time is it? Okay, I
Croissant.
can go. It's going. It's going. It's going. Come on. Come on.
What do you get?
This one
Is
says
it nap time again?
This one says vampire versus werewolf. So I guess I am going to just pick a side, and you
Okay.
guys can argue
We
the
have to
other
argue
side.
the other one. All right.
I'm gonna go with vampires.
3,
So
2,
Wrong.
1. Bonk.
well, vampires are better, and they get better movies in general. They have sparkly skin, so and they're hot. I could be if I was
Like,
vampires,
Sexually, like if they're hot.
yeah, like
Vampires.
there's
thrive
nothing
on
sexy about a
blood.
werewolf.
Dude, werewolves are way more resilient. Vampires are that's pretty weak sauce, man. They die to a steak.
Yeah, you get like
You need
super
a silver
strong.
bullet to
They live
kill.
at night. They're like they're ballers.
Werewolves
they're like
only come at
nightclubbing.
night, and they can still be a normal person during the day.
Yeah.
And it's only when there's a full moon.
Think about how much you get done
Yeah.
if you slept during the day and then you were awake at night.
Nobody's awake at night.
Yeah, okay.
But you're immortal.
You want to
You
know?
can live forever.
You want to
I
know
don't
why
wanna
I
live
leave
at night.
before 5 p.m. some days? Because a lot of the stores close at like 5 p.m. A lot of the places that I need to go. How inconvenient would that
Amazon.
be for no?
Everything would
you
get
can't.
delivered, and I would wake up.
BMV. Can't go to the
I don't need to
BMV.
drive. I turn into a bat.
Yeah, but like that'd be so awkward.
What if it's raining?
What
it's
if your
tornado?
girl wants to go home with you and you can't give her a ride because you're a bat? It's not you can't even carry her because you're a bat.
I could carry her.
You're a bat.
Yeah, but I'm a supernatural bat. I have
Well, what
super
if a kid like
strength.
shoots
Yeah,
you
I'm
out of
sure
the
she'll
sky
find
with a
that
BB
really
gun? It
attractive.
could be like silver and you're just dead.
Nobody has silver BBs.
You don't know that.
It would also have to penetrate, and it
I
won't
don't think
penetrate.
silver doesn't work on that's the werewolves.
That's werewolves. That's right.
No, it's
Hey,
wooden stakes.
Listen, it doesn't matter. I win. I win. And it's over.
But I'm Team Edward.
Boom.
I love how sparkly skin is a plus.
Vote in the
is.
comments who won their debate. Who argued best for their topic. You decide. Next time on.
we're gonna get copyright claimed on the whole podcast.
Because of that one segment.
I know, right?
Yep.
Wow, that's chaotic. I love it.
All right. Talk
okay.
about Tuesday tip.
Yeah, so Tuesday tip this week, as usual, we will expand upon this. Our Tuesday tip, we had a discussion about
Debate.
Yes, a debate about color profiles on a phone screen specifically,
Ooh.
because that's a way bigger debate when it comes to monitors and computers and all that. So we're not even going to touch that. We can't keep that within a Tuesday tip 60 second. So we were originally going to write this in a way that also talked about iOS, but I found through research that you do not have these options on iOS. There are
Apple knows best.
Well, so there are accessibility features that you can change certain things about color, but it's less about like, having a natural color versus oversaturated vivid, or even the adaptive like the Pixel has. It's just they're pretty much like, which doesn't surprise anyone, I'm sure, sitting here. Apple's like, we know best. This is your color profile. It's the most accurate, best screen, liquid retina XDR display.
They got True Tone, right?
But True Tone, all it does is changing the temperature of your screen to match your environment. So it has a light sensor on the front of your phone, and so like if you're in which light temperature is measured in Kelvin, and so
Hot.
yeah, and so if you just say a 4,500 Kelvin is it's warm, but it's much more towards the daylight spectrum of kind of like a white light. So if you were to walk into a room like that, your phone would then shift to that tone to match, so there's nothing jarring about the two. Because as we have all learned as a society now, blue light and screens and all those things are not really great for you.
Yeah.
So this is supposed to help with eye strain. I don't use True Tone because I just want to see everything as its
I don't either.
base level. I don't want any imagery to change. I'm looking for a natural color profile that looks nice. That's it.
Tristan would have it turned on his iMac sometimes in the middle of him.
Color grading.
He would notice like as soon as he'd start, but like he'd be like, "This looks weird. Why does it look weird?"
Would flip it off, and it's like,
Yeah. I wish it could be program dependent. I wish like it would automatically
That's smart.
turn off whenever I'm editing photos or video, specifically video, but
Just smartly
so
knows.
that it's relatable. Like there were like the Photos app drives me nuts because I used to operate in black and white, but anytime I'd open the calendar, because I have different colored calendar events, and anytime I would open my photo like camera, it's all in black and white. I'm like, this is unusable. But outside of that, I actually like a monochromatic black and white phone.
Like the color profile.
I like the whole phone. Everything on the phone when you open it is in black and white, and I like that just because it's longer battery life. But also, I think it's easier to read a lot of things. But because of specific apps, I was like, this is so dumb. How can you function this way? Every time you take a photo, it's in black and white. And I have no idea whether the white balance is correct or not. Which is it's funny. Black and white does fix it.
On an app-to-app basis, that makes sense. Because I think the only thing you can do is schedule it, right? Like if you want to do it off schedule.
You only take photos after 5 p.m.
Yeah, you're like, that's fine. It's after 5. I could take a picture. My phone's in color now.
Tasker. Look up Tasker. Like task. I have a task to do.
Yeah, task with an R at the end or ER?
Tasker. Yeah. It's an app that lets you automate things.
Is it ER or just
spell
R?
it?
ER.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's like hipster trendy. I'm going to leave out a vowel.
Yeah, I'm like Flickr
it's
or whatever.
TASKRR.
Ratings.com is just Rtings.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Yep. We live in a world where it's fun to not spell things right. It lets you automate things on your phone, especially on Android. It's Android only.
Okay.
And it lets you like schedule things exactly like that.
That's pretty cool. I wonder if there's something similar for Mac OS, because Final Cut would be pretty solid to have.
Probably. It's much easier to do it on a computer than a phone.
There's a really nice amount of like third-party stuff for Macs that I've found.
Yeah.
But yeah, so why does this matter, right? And I think the main issue is that when your phone comes to you, these are settings that are, I'm not going to say hidden, but they're in there. So it's like you have to find these and understand it to know that it exists. So a conversation came up in the office, and Daniel, he has a Samsung, which is notorious for being like, we're going to take your colors and we're just going to ramp them up to a level of saturation and vividness that it's like...
It's literally called like saturated mode, isn't it?
It's called Vivid.
Oh, Vivid. Okay.
Yeah, same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sounds better, I guess, in marketing terms. But I had Android phones from 2009 and on. I switched as soon as I possibly could, and then this past year I switched to iPhone. So I was pretty used to the menus. I had a lot of Samsung phones, and I would get them. I would go into my settings and I would change from vivid to natural so that you had natural colors. Yeah. And so it's funny, Daniel showed me an image on his phone, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was, because I had taken this video, and then I had seen him do his work on it. So I've seen this at its correct color. And then he showed me, and I was like, wow, that is like the bluest blue in that water in the sky. I was like, that can't be right. So we had a whole conversation about it. I said, are you on vivid mode? And he's like, what does that mean? So we broke it down, and I was like, because I remembered to a T. I was like, dude, it's settings, display, and then you can change it.
Yeah.
And so when he switched it, he was like, wow, like, at that moment he was enlightened to a certain degree that it's like, hey, I can change this function, and now I have a more natural color balance across my device instead of something that is just eye-searingly, candy. Yeah. That's a good analogy. Yes. So candy.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this. I thought David, whenever he got a hold of my phone, I thought we turned off on mine. Mine was still on. And I've noticed this more recently, and I thought there was a YouTube issue like with their
yours
player.
Was on what, though?
Adaptive.
Yes.
So that's why it was really throwing me off, because it was inconsistent. So sometimes my calendar, red would be red, or red would be like lava, like just neon red. And I was like, this is super weird. But more noticeably, I was on YouTube, and sometimes I'll watch in the Chrome browser, sometimes I'll watch in the YouTube app, and I was noticing like it was weird. The skin tones were super oversaturated, and I was like, are they bad at editing? Like, why is this so weird? And I couldn't figure it out. And then just the other day we went through my settings, and it was not set to neutral, or natural, neutral, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think you have natural, boosted, and then adaptive.
Yeah, and adaptive's not bad, but it actually is different than boosted, though.
Yes.
Somewhere in the middle, and it'll fluctuate a lot.
And I read, because Tristan has a Pixel, and I read that was a Pixel 3 and on function. So anything before then does not have the adaptive mode.
Yeah.
But it makes a big difference. And for us, we really care about color accuracy.
I was showing everybody pictures of the floors that I did. I have no idea what the actual...
that's funny.
I have no idea what they actually look like.
So you made me think of this. So you were talking about how like YouTube would sometimes look different with your adaptive mode. Samsung also has a an extra function to it where you can. It's like I don't know what it said, a video boost mode or something along those lines, and it knows when you're watching a video and also goes into a separate mode where it just like cranks your brightness and messes with saturation.
That's weird.
Yeah, because that's something I didn't really understand before until I started doing video with Tristan, is that like the brightness of your screen totally matters when it comes like how colors look.
Makes a big difference.
And so whenever I'm watching a show on my phone, like I just have to crank the brightness just so things look right.
Yeah.
And we've had this issue with clients is like we edit on very bright screens and then we'll send it to a client. They're like, it's too dark. We're like, what?
I'm like, how?
It's like, I can see all the detail.
Yeah, which is why whenever I do final passes, a lot of times I will edit at like 80% brightness and 50% audio on my headphones, because that's a pretty good gauge on how most people probably will experience it.
Oh, yeah. Yep. It's just tough, right? I mean, it's like it's also I struggle with it too. I mean, it's like I spent all this money on this device, and I absolutely love the screens on all my MacBook, my iPad, my phone. They all look phenomenal. And it's like my laptop is constantly at 100%.
Well, I guess that's why they make like vivid mode and things, because like people don't know what things should look like. And so if you just boost them, the really bad things will look pretty okay.
It's true though.
And like the pretty good things will look even better, because that's what they do like on TVs at like Best Buy or the big box stores. They just make it super oversaturated and people are like, oh wow, it looks so good. Even though like one might have better color than the other, the
Color
more
accuracy.
saturated one
Yeah.
is gonna like, oh, it looks better.
It is true. I mean, most of these things are set by default to boost and to look pretty. And don't get me wrong. I mean, like for a very long time, I enjoyed some of that on the Samsung phones. And for a long time, their cameras were also calibrated to do that, to boost a lot of the colors, whether it's the sky or the grass or...
There's tons of settings on the TVs that you have to change to make them look right.
Yes. And it's like once you see the difference, and that's the thing, is if like you just were in the Samsung ecosystem and you bought all these phones and you left them at their factory settings, you would never know the difference. Yeah. But as soon as somebody mentions it, I challenge you, if you're running an Android phone, to test this out for yourself, and look at the difference. And you might prefer Vivid over the other, or Boosted, whatever it's called, and that's fine. It's going to be your personal preference. But again, I think.
But you're wrong.
Well, I mean. That's another debate, but it's like once you
unlicensed opinion.
There you go. Once you see the difference, it makes all the it might change your mind on some of that. So and we care a lot about. We've talked about this multiple times. We care a lot about how our things are seen in the end, and we know a lot of times that due to screens and differing devices, that some of our stuff might get butchered to a certain degree. But we put a lot of time and effort into specifically colors.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It was just like I found out recently that certain files that I was exporting in Photoshop were not exporting in a color profile called sRGB, and they were exporting in what is it, CMYK?
What's
Print
the
shop
difference?
They're just two different color profiles.
CMYK is designed for like physical printing colors.
Yes.
So that's how your printers work. CMYK is cyan, magenta, and
yellow.
For some reason, yellow is... Well, I think K might be black, because you need like a pure black, and then the Y is...
a lot of times these will be the colors of ink that you will put in your printer.
Yes.
So that's why.
So it's very muted.
It's just
flat.
It's just different.
It's
different. Not that it's muted or flat. It's just different.
It's better for the physical things, and so when you try to take it from the physical to the virtual, it gets weird.
Well, because that's the thing, right? So it's based on those base colors.
Yeah.
They're using all those colors to mix together to make the different colors. And an RGB, right, is red, green, blue. And that's the primary way that our screens display. It's made up of red, green, blue pixels.
And how our eyes work.
So
can you do like the RGBYs now? Because that's like the whole new technology.
That was a gimmick like 10 years ago.
Is it?
Yeah. Y does not matter at all.
And there's no yellow value, no golden fish.
Your eyes don't have a yellow value. It's on the RGB.
Oh man.
So that's why RGB only matters.
I spent an extra $800 on that TV.
Oh my gosh.
No.
I was like, he did not. I know better than that.
That wasn't
that
in
would
the...
have been an old TV you bought.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's we could go into a whole thing on color science and color theory and how all that works. But this is just one of those things that we kind of ran up on and thought maybe it would help with enlighten some people and I don't know, changing the way they view some things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rec 2020. Everything else is bad.
It's bad.
So bad.
Give me all the colors. Give me the pings.
So give it a shot. We asked on our Tuesday tip, let us know if you tried it and which one you prefer. Do the same thing here. If you're listening to this and you have an Android phone, you gave this a shot, let us know which one you prefer in the comments. That'd be awesome. So, okay, that's it, guys.
Yeah.
That's all we got for today. Let me think. Yeah, so this is right now Black Friday. So be nice. Be nice to the peoples. And go get your tech deals. I'm sure there's a bunch of goodies going on right now. Hopefully you had a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy your long weekend, hopefully.
There's plenty of stuff to go around.
This is a great time to listen to the podcast, just saying, like, you know.
You're waiting in line.
Yeah.
Walk around the store, maybe.
You got a nice long weekend to think and listen to us. What a better way to spend it.
Tristan might be just slipping around on his new floor in his socks. Who knows?
Think about polishing it. It'll be real slip.
Oh, it'll be really shiny.
He's just
Dude, my wife's gonna fall on her butt.
Are you gonna do
terrified.
the white button up with no pants underneath? Slide in.
Oh, dirt. What is that?
I can't
Home Alone, isn't
risky.
it? No.
Risky business.
Risky Business.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
He did that. in
Never
Home
seen
Alone,
that
didn't
movie,
he?
but I know the scene. And is that
Same here.
Tom Cruise? Isn't it? Yeah. And his whitey tighties. Is he in the whitey?
Poison Ivy.
Something like that.
Way up there.
Way up there. Thanks for listening. Yeah, go follow us, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, leave a comment, help us out. We appreciate it.
to interact so the algorithm knows we're worth it.
Give them what they need.
YouTube.
See you later, you filthy animals.